Merry meet and bright blessings, everybody. Lady Leeanna here with another edition of Wicca for today. And today I have been working on helping you to understand the difference between the Esbats and the Sabbaths, which there are a lot of poor confused people out there that do need to know the difference between these. And so I did a video already earlier on the Esbats outlining the 13 full moons, what people would call them, what you would do on them, and how you would use the time of those full moons. And I thought, what better way to help you decipher this than to just go ahead and make the video to do with the Sabbaths likewise right after. And so here we are, and that's what I'm trying to do for you right now. Now, I'm going to be reading part of this and, telling you my feelings on it likewise, because I feel that not only does the information need to come from me, but from other people. It's good to get their perception on it. Likewise, being unscripted as I am, I may be inclined to forget certain details, and I don't want to do that by any means. I want to cover this most thoroughly for you. We're going to start with Samhain. It's spelled actually Samhain, S-A-M-H-A-I-N, but it's said as though it's spelled S-O-W-E-N, okay? And some people S-O-W-E-E-N. Now, this is a holiday that transpires on October 31st, as it is actually the last day of the Witches calendar, and November 1st is the first day of the Witches calendar. Other titles of this holiday are the Witches' Eve, the Witches' New Year, Summer's End, All Hallows' Eve, or All Hallows' Even, and let's see, and Halloween, okay, which is the generic world around us and all of that. And like I said, October the 31st, it's just like the standard New Year's that everybody celebrates at the end of December. Only this is for the witches, and well, even the Christian world celebrates it, so worldwide now. And anyway, Greater Sabbath cross quarter is what it's celebrating, and it's actually where you're celebrating the death of one of the aspects of Equinox, so that it can be reborn on Yule, okay? Or whatever deity or god that you actually worship. It's the celebration of the death of one aspect so that the other aspect can be reborn. Anyway, the Lord dies and awaits his rebirth at Yule, okay? Now, for me, that would be Equinox or Cernunnos, whichever way you wish to pronounce it. And let's see, the related holiday, Halloween, being the generic, or I guess you could say the Christian aspect of it. Anyway, if Christians ever celebrated it. But the corresponding colors are orange and brown. Now, you see a lot of blacks, oranges, and purples out there on Halloween. But that's the world at large aspect as to what the colors should be. Orange, as we know, is a warning color, a protection color. And brown is actually a growth color and a protection color likewise. Whenever I do a protection candle from whatever, generally from the spirit world or from other people doing magic, it's on a brown candle. Okay? I also lift curses or hexes with these. Some people do the reversals, which is totally different, but protections are done in brown. Nonetheless, on Samhain, the corresponding colors are orange and brown by Wiccan or pagan aspects of things. Now, the symbols are fall fruits. Okay? Notes. Alright, what they say as far as notes. This is the day that the veil between the worlds of the living and the world of the dead is at its thinnest. And, as we all know, that Halloween corresponds to respecting and giving homage to all of those that have passed before us in ancient times or in the most recent times. And also we know that the world is dying at this time, so that it could be reborn again in the spring through the dust, or I guess the leftovers of the year before. All that has decayed, all that has gone back to the earth, new life can spring up through it. Okay, so, this is a good time for divination and scrying. This is a good time to get in touch with your inner psyche, to enhance it, to grow it, or to have it done. Okay, if you're a person that likes to get readings but don't like to read yourself, this is a good time for all of that, because like I said, the veils are at its thinnest at this point in time between the worlds, and that's of those that are deceased, and that's why you can get in touch with those that have passed before, and why you could see into the future better, or why your magics are a lot more profound. Anyway, so this is what you would use the holiday for. Alright, Yule. The Winter Solstice is the only other name that I know of this being called by, and they correspond with that on the page that I'm looking at by basically just putting that. And if there were other names, they would have placed those on there. Yule. There is one Christian name, which is Christmas. And then there is your agnostic or atheist title, which would be your Xmas. Anyway, whichever way you choose to look at it, Winter Solstice is what we witches, or Yule, what we choose to call it. Now, this transpires around December 21st. We say December 21st to December 23rd. Alright, and they say or thereabouts, because, these are actually calculative by different other things that are of great importance, but I'm not going to go into that kind of depth. We celebrate it between December 21st and December 23rd. Alright, and a lot of times, with the Christians on December 25th and 26th. Celebration of the goddess giving birth to the god. And that's your god that died back at Samhain, being given birth back into life again through the goddess. So this is what Yule is about. The goddess giving birth to the god once more. Related holiday, Christmas, I've already said that. Colors that correspond is purple or dark green. Now in the Christian aspect of things, green and red. A lot of times you could throw in other flashy colors there as well. To me, as long as it's bright colors, makes you feel good, whatever it is, it is. Okay, dark green. Why dark green for Yule when there's very little green up on the earth? Well, that's precisely it. It's to celebrate life coming back in. It's to celebrate that which is fixing to transpire thereafter, the world coming back into life. And it's not really so much a celebration of the things going into the earth or dying back, because that was your Samhain, that was your harvest. But that which is to be born back into life again. Symbols: holly, mistletoe, pine branches, pine cones, wreath, your standard Christmas details as well. Well, as is. You can find all of this in the Christmas holiday, let's see. Notes. Shortest day of the year. Yule log is decorated and with evergreen and holly strands before being lit at sunset and is burned until sunrise. Celebration of family and friends, celebrations of peace, love, and positive energy. Well, that's what I would say about it. It's not really so much a time for having rituals for gaining anything. It's actually a time for giving energy back to the earth. Unless you're doing your Esbat, which is to charge and to do things for yourself. that's the time you would do for yourself, is during the Esbat. But at this particular time, Yule celebration, you're given back to the earth through celebrations and festivities, and it corresponds with friends and loved ones, you know, coming together with people and just celebrating life, because that's what you're trying to ring in. You know, you're celebrating the birth of the god back into the life from the goddess. Okay. Let's see. And then you have Imbolc. Imbolc. Other names are Imbolg, or Olmec, or Candlemas, or Bridget's Day, or Bride Day. Okay? I stick with Imbolc. It's easy, it's simple, and the god and goddess knows exactly where I'm coming from whenever I say it. Okay, the date is February the 2nd. Alright? Greater Sabbath, cross quarter. Okay, that is your crossing of different aspects, the dark now into the light. Alright? Celebration of the god is a young child growing in size and strength. Well, we know that in Yule, the god was given birth to by the goddess, and now he's growing in size and strength. And related holidays are St. Valentine's Day. Colors are pink or pale green. The symbol, the candle wheel, evergreens, willows, grain dolly, whatever that is. I don't even know what that is. I guess it's something that helps to tote your grain. Wouldn't that be a wheelbarrow? In this day and age, we've lost a lot of understanding as to what things are, and I'll be the first to admit I don't know everything, people. Okay, but I would imagine that is something by taking the ideas of grain, which is old, and the new, a wheelbarrow or a dolly, and say that it's something that you would tote your grains on, like a wheelbarrow. That's what it seems to be reasonable in my opinion. If anybody knows, put it in the discussions below, and I'll be glad to take that upside the chin. Alright, first planting of the spring. Okay, you're going to start your planting, you're going to start preparing your ground, like right after Yule. And you're going to start preparing your ground, and you're going to plant your seeds around Imbolc, February the 2nd. Ritual fires are burned, a time for birth, healing, and inspiration. This is a popular time for vows of dedication or consecration, initiation in your dedicational ceremonies, whether in large groups or solitary practitioners. Okay? So that's what you would look at this particular time for. You're growing in many different ways. The earth is growing. The earth is giving birth. Things are starting to come and spring into life around February 2nd, particularly in Texas here. Okay. But you could still get those harsh freezes, one or two others that would come along if you're not careful. So you want to be very careful. I say around in February 2nd, you just want to prepare your ground. You don't want to do any heavy planting at that point. I would wait till like the end of February and mid-March to put things directly in the ground. Now, starting plants would be a different thing. Anyway, staying on focus here. Ostara follows. Other names, Spring Equinox, Eostre, I guess that's how they would pronounce it. And in the Christian faith, Easter. Okay. And this transpires round about March 21st, give or take. Alright. Related holiday, Easter, which I've just said. Color that corresponds, light green. Let's see. Symbols, spring flowers. And that makes sense to me. Also, in my opinion, spring rains. April showers bring fresh flowers, etc. I'd look at rain because you hit a rain phase around that time too. Let's see. Light overtakes the dark in this time. Rebirth of life. contemplate new beginnings and fresh ideas. Serious meditation on your hopes and dreams for the coming year. Solar festival fires, lights, and festivities, or fertility. Let's see. Notes. Light overtakes the dark. Rebirth of life. Contemplate new beginnings and fresh ideas. Yeah, they say that too. Serious meditation on your hopes and dreams for the coming year. Solar festival of fire, light, and fertility. A lot of your fertility festivals and so forth transpire around that time, especially in Beltane, okay, which is your next festival. Let's see. Other names of Beltane is May Eve, May Day, Samrad, which I've never actually heard anybody pronounce it that way. Some may say Samradha, and pronounce the H at the end with a breath of air. Okay, but Beltane, May Eve, and May Day is the most prominent names I've ever heard this holiday called. And it transpires May 1st. Greater Sabbath, cross quarter. Celebration of the Lord and Lady, consummation of their relationship. Fertility rites take place. And I'm going to do some big series to do with all of the holidays. And Beltane will be the first on my agenda. I'm actually getting ready to do a video on Beltane as it is. But, so I won't go real deep into that right now. But the Lord and Lady, consummation of their relationship. Okay, colors that correspond with that is white, red, and pink. Okay, I've seen a lot of light blues and purples flashing around on that holiday as well. So, these days you have to realize that everything changes. Everything transcends from the oldest to the new, and everybody is doing things 1,000 times different than what they did even 200 years ago. So, everything is subject to change, and none of this is really set into stone. These give you a guideline and an outline as to what the older people did in the oldest days. And you can take that as you will and use it as you want. Okay, but Beltane, May Eve, May Day, Samrad, or Samrada, celebration of the Lord and Lady, consummation of their relationship, colors that correspond, white, red, and pink. Symbols, spring flowers, especially the rose. Okay, and I would say that if you got a beautiful pink rose, it would be a really good symbol to keep with you around that time. It definitely represents the feminine, the vagina opening up, the woman in full bloom. Okay, and it's a thing of beauty, and nothing says spring like a pink rose. Anyway, let's see. Fire and fertility festivals. Jumping over the bellfire. Okay. A lot of people do that. Couples jump the bellfire and people individually jump the bellfire. These days, it's gotten quite a bit different from the old. And it's a lot more versatile. But the parties and the celebration are surely a lot wilder. I'm sure of it. Be careful if you go into a mass celebration of Beltane, because you never know what you're going to find. Be ready for whatever you are going to see. And, it is a fertility holiday. It is fertility festivals that transpire, and you've got people that are whooping it up. I'm telling you. You need to watch some of the videos here on YouTube to do with that. Okay, dance around the Maypole. Your females will go one way, generally counterclockwise, and your males will go clockwise. Of course, different cultures, different traditions will do it differently. but your men go all one way and your female go all the other way, and they're weaving the ribbons around until it totally cloaks the maypole that rests in the center, and you will no longer see the pole itself. It will be wrapped and threaded around by the ribbons, which aren't like paper ribbons. They're very hefty ribbons, and they're just getting braided together as people weave in sexual notions and ideas of the god and goddess. You know, the pole representing the phallic symbol of the god, the people in a circle representing the vagina or the womb, and you know, they're weaving life into existence through these ribbons. Okay, the dance around the maypole, it's a really nice and interesting thing to see, and everybody does different things while doing this. Some of them will sing while they're going around the maypole, some of them will dance and chant, and some of them will just say prayers and praises, and some of them will have a high priest or a high priestess giving certain readings of love from the god or goddess, taking the god or goddess into themselves to actually act on behalf of this god or goddess and convey the messages there that they have to convey. Anyway, so it's really a beautiful thing, and it depends on where you are, where you go, who you're involved with, how many people are there, as to how this is going to transpire. Some people may just have a handful of people and they'll each give something to the fire or something to the earth. They'll each do a certain read, you know, or praise to the god and goddess themselves. But in all, you know, like with all of the other Sabbats, they're not really rituals to get things from the god and goddess. They're not rituals to ask for things. They're not rituals to make things happen. They're actually praises and prayers going out, energy being given to the earth or to the god and goddess. You know, that's what your Sabbats are really about. Alright, now you have Letha. Some say Litha, some say Letha, some say tomato, some say tomato. Okay, but tomato is tomato and tomato is potato. Anyway, no. Anyway, summer solstice, midsummer, those are two other terms for Litha. And it transpires on June 21st or thereabouts. Let's see. Now, in celebration of the goddess being pregnant with the god. Again, okay, that man just never gets enough. He just never wants to stop being reborn. It's a lot of energy. It's being fresh. It's being new, and there is nothing wrong with that. But the goddess is pregnant with the god. Related holidays: Feast of John the Baptist, in correspondence with Christianity. Colors: white and pale yellow. Okay. Symbols: spear of the god and cauldron the goddess. Summer flowers: birch, white lilies, carnations, stuff like that. You could find those to be your best symbols to do with Letha. Alright. Not forgetting the spear and the cauldron representing the god and goddess. Alright. Longest day of the year. The god is at his peak strength. Midpoint of the year. Light large bonfires after sundown. Peak of magical power. Remember that nothing will last forever. Celebrate abundance, fertility, virility, beauty, and the bounty of our earth. Good time for hand fasting. Workings for empowerment and consummations. Although remember, not for the celebration of Letha, but around the full moon of that month, that season. Okay, do your rituals for hand fasting, for working, and empowerment and consummation. Alright. Now, Lufnasad or Lugnasad. I've heard this pronounced in several different ways. It's also pronounced Lamas or Lugnasad. I done said that. They kind of carried that out though a little bit. And Lunasa. Okay. But Luf or Lug is the best way that I like to pronounce it. Celebration of a festival not only of life and bounty, but of the harvest and death and complete cycle of life. Colors that correspond, gold and bright yellow. So, very solar, in my opinion. And as a matter of fact, he is the child of a sun goddess. Let's see. Symbols, summer, flowers, nuts, and grains. Fire and Light Festival, first grain harvest, feast dedicated to Earth Mother, and you can count your blessings on many, many different things that you've acquired or that you have for your family, for love, and so forth. Okay, so this is what you would celebrate. To do with Luf or Lug. Alright. Mabon. Other names are Autumn Equinox, Harvest Home, Pagan Thanksgiving. The date, September 21st or thereabout. Celebration of the god now sleeps within the womb of the goddess. That little sucker gets born all the time, doesn't he? Colors that correspond, dark brown and red. Symbols, harvest foods. Fruits, nuts, berries, etc. Alright, notes. Second Harvest Festival, celebration of thanks for the crops that were harvested. Dark overtakes the light. Okay, which means the dark god rises up and takes hold of things while the light god sleeps and nurses his wounds that were inflicted from the takeover. The hostile takeover. You know, do remember that whenever it speaks of this god, it's talking about the twins, which are the Holly King and the Oak King, which are aspects of the same deity, you know, and how they battle to live at certain areas of time. Each of them 6 months of life to each other, and there are times where they're for a very short while balanced and equal to each other. Okay, and also I need to do a video to do with light sides and dark sides of humans, which they do exist just as they do within the god and goddess, you know, and we'll get around to that, but there's a lot for me to undertake. Anyway, this has been this new edition of Wicca for today with Lady Leeanna, and I really hope that you've enjoyed it. I did a bit of reading here. A lot of it is my own take on things. A lot of it is a take on someone else online that has been given kind of an average of what the masses believe, more toward the strength of the crowd or whatever, you know. But I feel that everybody should have a take from not only me, but from everybody else likewise, and I do definitely try to be fair in that way. Anyway, I feel that I've put myself out there to really try to give you a great lesson and make sure you fully understand what the Sabbats are as opposed to the Esbats in the video made just prior to this. Really study these two videos if you want to understand them completely. Do realize that your Sabbats are all solar, your Esbats are all lunar. And, you know, just really watch these videos because they're very important, just like the rest of the phases of the moon and what they represent to us. You know, I mean, that's what witches are noted for, studying their knowledges or wisdoms from history past and everything that everybody else has laid out there for them, grabbing hold of that and using it. I mean, because, I mean, the wise wouldn't very well be the wise if they went the long route on everything, because, you know, there is all that knowledge and wisdom which has been laid out by their foremothers and fathers. Okay? Anyway, Bright blessings to you, and take care of yourself on your journey. Mary Part.